Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show today. My name is John Drummond, or Yang Haoen.
Hello, 大家好，欢迎各位再度来到 NG 英文，我是 Angela。
We have a great episode for you today with my good friend Trey Stallworth, who's known around the Taiwanese community as Trey.
没错，今天呢 NG 英文邀请到了跟 John 一样来自加州的 Tres 到节目上跟大家分享他的铁人故事。
My guest today is American and has been living in Taiwan for some time now. He has an inspiring story that changed his life forever, brought him to Taiwan, and allowed him to begin his triathlete journey. He is a runner, swimmer, cyclist, lover of meeting new people, exploring new places, and learning new things. So everyone, please welcome my good friend
Trey.What's up, John? My name's Trey Stallworth, and it's so nice to be able to tell my story and talk about the things that have been happening here in Taiwan that have really made my life wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful to have you on the show, as you have been someone that has kind of been on my radar as someone that my friends, my good friends, keep being like, you haven't met Trey yet? You got to meet Trey. You know, just great energy, great spirit. And now that I've gotten to know you a little bit, a beautiful story. So I would love if you can maybe give a little bit of an intro about yourself, and we can start there.
今天来宾有点特别哦，他的爸爸是美国军人，所以从小就是常常因为要跟着爸爸被调派的地点搬家。那长大后本来是从事都市计划的工作，但后来因为种种因素，加上在工作上得不到成就感，觉得人生这么长这么美好，而且还有很多好想做的事情在等着他，所以就最后转换跑道，改从事教职。至于发生了什么事情让他对人生有这样子的改观，我们待会马上在第二段揭晓。那在这之前呢，有个字先来跟大家介绍一下，都市规划的英文说法是 urban planning。 好，那在他访谈中说他之前是一位 urban planner， 意思就变成是做都市规划的人。那其他也跟 urban 有关的字我们也一起认识一下， urban renewal 都市重建、都市改造， urban jungle 都市丛林，还有这个 urban legend or urban myth 就是都市传说。那有都市就有非都市的地区嘛，它的相反词可以用这个字 rural， R-U-R-A-L rural 就是乡下乡村的。赶快来听今天的分享吧。
Oh, thank you so much, John. And likewise as well. When I first met you, it was such an honor in meeting in the restaurant, and everybody said, "Oh, this is John." I was like, "Oh man, we've heard so much about each other, and now we actually get to meet." And so, yeah, thank you so much for that. And yeah, as far as me, I was born in the States, born in California, Sacramento, and then my dad was in the military, moved around a lot, and ended up mostly in Virginia though. And I was an urban planner in the U.S. and it was good. It's a good job, but I really didn't find any fulfillment out of it. And so I wanted to try something new. So I transitioned over to teaching, and I moved to Taiwan. But the reason why I transitioned over to teaching, there was kind of an event that happened in my life that made it where it kind of opened my mind about, wow, there's a lot more I want to do in my life, and I don't want this to be like the last things that I do.
You know, I think this transition is something that's very important to your journey. And so if you're comfortable with that, do you mind sharing a little bit about what happened and kind of where it has led you to now in Taiwan?
前面我们有提到说啊，因为一些原因让 Trey 对人生改观，那到底是发生了什么事情嘞？原来在他搬来台湾之前生了一场重病，整条腿因为血栓的影响，就是血块卡在那个血管里面，从脚踝到屁股都肿到不行，严重到住院住了40天，甚至还面临了要截肢的可能。本来连医生都想不到底发生什么事，最后发现是他得了肺栓塞的缘故。好，那这状况其实非常危险，只要一个血块卡在肺动脉就可以要你的命。大家那时候是每几个小时就有好几个会卡在那里，然后又发现竟然还得了莱姆病，整个就是雪上加霜。所以后来他2个礼拜后可以开始跑，甚至最后顺利出院，整个就是一个奇迹，让他意识到说真的生命很脆弱很可贵，决定要好好把握人生，把生活过好过满。这个单字我们来认识一下 blood clot。它是血凝块、血块。那当这些血块啊卡在血管里造成肺栓塞的时候，这肺栓塞它的英文是 pulmonary embolism。 那当这样子的状况发生的时候啊，就会常常需要像Tres一样需要住院治疗，有时候甚至要截肢。那这住院治疗英文可以说 hospitalization， 或者如果你说某人被送到医院住院治疗，就会变成是 hospitalized。 好像Tres当时就会讲 He was hospitalized for a long time。 最后截肢可以用这个字 amputation。 赶快来听吧。
For sure, yeah. About 2 years before I moved here, I had a severe hospitalization. Basically, I went in, I had a blood clot from my ankle all the way up to my left hip, and the full leg was just completely swollen. Didn't know what it was, in the hospital for 40 days, and the doctors couldn't figure it out, but they had to do 2 surgeries on it. And then by the end, the blood kept coming back, and it was either going to be an amputation or basically I didn't mention this to you before, but I was basically having pulmonary embolism. So basically the blood clot was going into my lungs every few hours, and just one of them can kill you. So it was much more, serious than I kind of hoped it to be. But in the end, we found out I had Lyme disease. Got treated for the Lyme disease, and everything got better. And within 2 weeks after being in the hospital bed and being in a wheelchair, I was able to run. It was absolutely phenomenal. Like, it was a huge transition, and I couldn't run very far, but I ran a little bit. And so the idea was like, wow, what else in my life that I've been wanting to do can I now go out and do, that I have this freedom again? And so that's what kind of led me to taking the big step of moving abroad and coming to Taiwan.
Thank you for sharing that story, as I know is such a pivotal moment in your life, and I'm so glad that you found Taiwan too, and what's I think is even more beautiful is your background as a runner, and you came to Taiwan, and a few years in, another beautiful thing started to unfold, and that was your journey into becoming a triathlete.
不知道大家对于铁人三项有没有什么看法？就我个人而言呢，要我登百岳是没有问题，不过一听到铁人三项就觉得又热又累，退避三舍。但是这对Tres来讲却是再热血不过的事情。那之所以会开始参加这些活动，一来是因为自己本身就有在跑步，那加上之前有一次本来是朋友要参加铁人，但是临阵脱逃，觉得游泳那一关过不了，所以Tres就代替他完成。那也就是从那个时候开始，让他有了接触铁人三项的机会。不过最后会开始全心全意在铁人训练上下功夫，开始想要加入铁人三项的社群，是因为从上次代替朋友参加的经验啊，发现整个活动的氛围，整个散发出来的能量都非常正面。虽然比赛很竞争，但是选手跟选手之间的互助跟支持是可以非常清楚感受到的，让Tres觉得他也想要融入在这样子的正向健康的环境里。那这段最后啊 John 有提到这一句 dive in headfirst， 就是我们讲的一头栽进去，好，或是也可以改成 dive headfirst into something。 好，它除了可以用来比喻一股脑一头栽进去做某件事情以外，也可以用来形容一个人头朝下直接跳下水这样子的实际动作。
Pretty much some friends of mine, we all got together, and they were planning on going to do their first triathlon in Tainan. And they said, hey, Tres, come along. And I was like, okay, cool. So we got there, and one of my buddies backed out. He said, I can't do it. He goes, it's almost a mile swim. He wasn't ready for the swim. And I was like, I'll do it. And so I jumped in. I did it. I barely made it through the swim. I barely got through the whole triathlon. And I was actually, for about 2 weeks, I was completely almost immobile. Like, I was just so sore all over my body. But the beautiful thing that came out of it was just the vibe and the energy of the people there. Everything from the spectators to the families and everything that was there supporting their athlete. And then the actual athletes, everybody's very generous. Everybody wants to help everybody out. It's not it's a very helpful community, even though it is competitive. And so that's what I loved about it. And the type of people are usually very successful, and they're very driven, and they're focused on this thing that it's just another part of their life, but it ends up becoming a huge part of their life, and their stories are just amazing. So that's what kind of just brought me into triathlon. I said, I want to do this, and so I bought a bike, and kind of went from there.
I love it too, because now you have really dove in head first. Excuse the pun there with swimming there, but yeah. You've now created this beautiful online community with Triathletes Tribe.
前面讲到后来 Tres 就真的全心投入在这个铁人三项的世界里。那接下来呢，我们提到原来他还买了一台健身脚踏车在家里做训练，甚至呢成立了一个叫做 Triathletes Tribe 的这个线上平台，让大家可以在上面互相交流做分享。所以如果听众朋友有兴趣，也想要展开你的铁人人生，改天可以到他的网站上去看看，了解一些新手资讯，或是像其他的这个锻炼的秘诀等等。或者如果你单纯想要听其他铁人的故事，之后也可以去他的网站走走哦。因为像之前他有做一些铁人访谈然后就发现每个人开始铁人三项的背后都有一个很特别很启发人心的原因。好，例如有位3个孩子的妈每天早上3点半起床，就是为了要做铁人训练。那这在旁人听起来好像很累很辛苦，你训练3个小时，然后接着6点半去上班，然后回家还要再照顾小孩。但这个锻炼的过程对这位妈妈来说却是非常值得回味。好，整个就是非常的沉醉其中。那最后的比赛呢，也就是整个过程训练下来的奖品。所以就像这样子的故事，让 Tres 觉得被打动，想要把这些振奋人心的分享让更多人知道。
The goal of this website is to, in general, to help people with triathlon, to get started with becoming a triathlete, any beginner tips. I wanted to provide products that would help them. And so whether it even be like running shorts or, something to do with shoes, if they run a certain way, anything that's really going to help them. And also, I also want to make sure that I was giving them training tips on things that have helped me. And the biggest thing that's come out of it, actually, that I wasn't even expecting, was when I did a few interviews with people who've done triathlons in the U.S., and I was so inspired by their stories that I said, whoa, this is what I want to eventually focus in on, is what are the stories behind the people that are doing triathlon? Because they're inspiring, and these are not famous people. They're only known by their people in their community, but it's so inspiring to hear, a woman who wakes up at 3:30 every morning, has 3 kids, and she still goes out and does like 3 hours of training before work. And she says that training is the most enjoyable part and the race is the reward. And it's amazing. So there's so many stories out there that you get to hear. And I wanted to say, you know what, I want to share more of these stories with people around the world so they can share it with their community and other people can kind of get inspired and have encouragement from that.
Yeah, and I think it's so pure, and I love that, you just realized you were interested in inspiration that you were feeling based off of their stories. And it leads me beautifully to a question about kind of the future of Tres and how, you mentioned off air that you want to kind of further this community. And so can you share a little bit about what are your future plans within the world of triathletes?
再来 Tres 提到之后他希望可以到世界各地去搜集更多其他铁人的故事，好跟他们做访谈，然后把过程录起来做成影片，再放到网站上跟大家做分享，以这样子的方式去把铁人三项这样的一个社群发扬光大，也希望可以透过这些励志的故事激发更多人的动力。只是说因为现在疫情的关系，没有办法说去哪个国家就去哪个国家，所以既然他人在台湾呢，就从台湾的铁人故事开始，也希望借此呢打通更多全台各地铁人社群的连结。
Sure, yeah. I want to go around the world in any aspect, starting out in Europe, and go to different triathlon groups and go to their local spots, their local swimming holes, their local running places, the places where they go for their long bike rides, and just be with them, experience what they experience, interview them, put it all on video, and then have it on the website so that they can share it with their friends and their family and people in their community, and it builds that community. And not only that, people from all over the world can go and see their experience and watch it. And that's the idea, is that everybody around the world can see, okay, these people are doing this, I can do this too. And they've had these struggles. I've had this similar struggle. If they can do it, I can do it. And just providing that more for the triathlon community. And also, to a further extent, to runners and swimmers and cyclists, or whatever your sport is in that endurance arena. And so with that, right now, the pandemic's happening, so I didn't want to take that chance right now. So I said, a friend of mine recommended that, hey, why don't you try that in Taiwan? So the goal now is over the next few months to be able to go to different triathlon groups throughout Taiwan and to basically do the same thing, go in and interview the members and go to the local swimming places, the local riding places, the local running places, and that way I can share their story with the rest of Taiwan. And so again, Taiwanese people can connect with each other and know each other's stories.
Yeah, and I just love that, and it feels, you're really helping build these communities, but it's I'm so excited for this, and
Thank you.
I wish you nothing but success, and I hope to join you one of these days, maybe with a triathlon.
That'd be awesome.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
So do you think you can leave us with a little bit maybe about what has been some really beneficial aspects of training for you? Maybe some training, some recovery. What has really worked for you now over the years?
接着呢，我们来谈谈做铁人训练的一些小撇步。对，是做铁人训练，不是学英文。没想到吃素对身体的影响有这么大耶。当然，如果我们一直都是有在吃肉的话，突然要改成吃素也是需要一些时间来改。但Tres说他发现把饮食改成素的话，对于体能恢复有很大的帮助。好，另外一个也很重要的是，我们内心要坚定，要始终如一，不要半途而废。就算是你可能某天很累，心情不好，不想要做锻炼，真的也要努力把自己拉起来，就算只有做个15分钟也好，因为你有做，表示你有持续在这上面下功夫。那这个持续性、连贯性呢，对我们内心动力的建立是有很大的影响的。好，那最后还有一点是不要有太多压力，就记得要持续去做训练就好，时间长短没有关系，重点是你有起身去做就够了。那这段等一下要提到这个吃素吃荤，它的英文待会大家可以把耳朵张开专心抓它的字。吃素这个字用 vegetarian， 好，但是这通常比较像是我们说的锅边素或是蛋奶素等等。如果是要全素的话，就变成要说 vegan。那相反的 carnivore 就是吃肉的。赶快继续来听今天的分享吧。
The biggest thing has been the diet as far as recovery, and then making sure that I'm being a vegetarian and having a plant-based diet has made it so that I'm recovering obviously a lot more. So that is huge, but that's a big step for most people. I mean, for me, like I said, I'm a carnivore, so for me, it's really hard even for me. But if you don't make this step, just the idea of like being consistently every day doing something. So say like, you've had a hard day at work, the kids are crying and, something bad happened. Even if you got 15 minutes in of a run, or 15 minutes on an indoor bike trainer or whatever, just did something that day so that way you're consistent is the best thing that I've found. Because there have been days where I didn't want to like move and I just said, okay, just go do it, put on your shoes and just go, don't think. And that was huge, just like being consistent with that. And then the other thing is, don't put too much pressure. It's not a perfect thing at all. There's lots of imperfections, so just be relax with yourself, but just be consistent.
Yeah, I love that. And it kind of reminds me of the concept of just 1% better, and how actually if you look over a year, that's 365%, this compounding effect of 15 minutes a day, and
yes,
it's beautiful. And you're cultivating this. I see how hard you're working, and I just love everything that you're doing here. So
Thanks,
I hope
really
you have so much success, and just either without it, this personal fulfillment is also a beautiful thing too.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Well, do you think we can switch and transition a little bit now from the swim to the run? Hey, goodness gracious. Somebody take my job. And talk a little bit about kind of your language journey too, as you've been now in Taiwan for a few years, and it's, the silver lining of COVID is you're going to kind of start this triathlon journey around Taiwan. Do you want to be interviewing people in their local language, or how do you vision that?
紧接着他说，未来的这些铁人访问会以受访人觉得舒服的语言来进行，所以如果在台湾的话，他就主要会用中文来做，而且这样子他也可以就是多一点练习讲中文的机会。不过如果有人想要用英文进行的话，当然也是非常欢迎。一个就是想练英文的练英文，想练中文的练中文，很 free 的一个双语环境。 因为毕竟这些访谈他们受访人是主角嘛，要他们讲的自在，分享出来的东西才会多，我们听的人呢也才比较能够去体会他们所叙述出来的经历。
I want to make sure that anybody I'm interviewing is comfortable. And the best way I think for people to be comfortable is to speak in their first language or their native language, if they so choose. And so for me, I'm going to prep the questions in Chinese and give it to them so that they can have questions already ready to go. And I can practice the question in Chinese so that it's clear to them. And then they can say it back and be comfortable and just let it flow. And then with that, I'll take that and put it right on the website or have it on a video so it's automatically there for them. And so the idea is that I get to learn more Chinese from that because I'll be speaking to people who are speaking Chinese mostly. And it helps me and it helps them. And so yes, that's kind of the beauty of it. But if somebody wants to do it all in English, I think that's awesome too, because I think that might be exciting for them to have like an experience. Oh, I'm giving an interview in English. That may be something too. So either way, however they want to do it. But yeah, I'll definitely prep both in English and in Chinese.
Yeah, and I think that's so beautiful. And it kind of, I'm envisioning you, going all around the world, getting all these different languages and the stories in their native tongue. Yeah. However, I believe, the global language of the triathlete community is still probably English too. So yes, this could be a beautiful showcase for them to, almost encourage their English learning too, in a way.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And that's kind of what I've noticed that a lot of people I've met from Europe, most of them have some English at least. And even when I've traveled there a few times, I've noticed that even if I don't speak Italian, they know a little bit of English to get by for sure. And so it's kind of like and people just want to make everybody feel. So even if I know a little bit of Italian, I'll give as much as I can. Or if I know a bit of French, I'll say that. And so yeah, so the idea is that whatever's going to make them comfortable and make them want to share their story, because again, it's about the story, so that they can let others know what's going on. They get to kind of share their experience, and then others can experience what they've shared. So that's the main goal.
Awesome, brother. Well, unfortunately, we're kind of coming to our last question here on NG Ingwen. And that is, if you could go back in time and talk to a younger Trey, would there be any advice you give yourself about language, life, being an athlete?
访谈最后，Trey想要跟以前年轻时候的自己说啊，不需要事事都要求完美，只要有维持、有持续去做就够了。而且真的也要放轻松一点啦，不用3不5时就担心这个担心那个，因为最后都会瞧到船头自然直啊。Things usually work themselves out. 好担心慌张也没有用。另外他也提到，希望自己可以早些学外国语言，因为他本身就喜欢认识新朋友，跟他们分享一些人生故事，所以如果会其他语言，就可以帮助他认识更多人，也可以更容易明白他们的故事。
Yes, I would tell him, Trey, first, you don't need to be perfect. All you need to do is just be consistent. And when a change comes around, make the change and be consistent with that change. That's it. Just focus on that. And then also I would tell him, calm down. It's okay. You don't have to worry about a lot of things. Things will usually work themselves out. Learn to laugh a little bit more and joke around and yeah, just kind of relax a little bit more. That's what I tell younger Trey. And yeah, and as far as language, I wasn't a big reader until I was actually after college. I really started reading a lot. It kind of inspired me to I want to learn other languages because I loved hearing basically people's stories. And those stories were told in my language. I say, man, I would love to hear it in Spanish. Or I'd love to hear it in Portuguese. Or I'd love to hear it in Japanese or something. And so I wish I had started at a much younger age to learn other languages, even if it's just a language that everybody thinks is easy, like, something close to English, like Spanish or Italian or French or something. But the idea is that just learn something so that then, because I love talking to people, I love meeting people, I love meeting new people, and it's easier to do that if you know their language.
Yeah, man. And it's so beautiful. And it seems like you are really embodying all of these transitions and this advice to the younger Trey. So beautiful. I'm so excited for all the things you are creating and just the way you're living your life. It's really beautiful. So where can people kind of find more of your life online, maybe your blog and website, and maybe some socials?
Sure. My website is called triathletestribe.com. And also there's also a Facebook group for triathletestribe.com. And yeah, that's pretty much the easiest way to get a hold of me through Facebook or on the website. You can directly email me or give me a shout out. Yeah, and if you have any questions or comments, definitely shoot it in on Facebook page definitely is probably the quickest way to get a hold of me.
Awesome, Trey.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Yes, thank you so much, John. The pleasure is all mine, for sure.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Peace. All right. Well, that is our NG英文 show for today. We hope everyone enjoyed listening to that. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and now Spotify. You can search NG 英文, or you can search on IG NG English ICRT. And don't forget to tune in every Wednesday morning from 6:30 to 7 and Wednesday night from 9 to 9:30. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.
好啦，今天的节目就到这边告一段落啦，感谢各位的收听，别忘了订阅我们的 Spotify 还有 YouTube 频道哦。那喜欢我们节目的话，也要记得到 Instagram 到 IG 上追踪我们哦。如果各位有什么其他问题是想要问来宾的，也请欢迎在底下留言告诉我们，我们一定会想办法帮你问到手。好啦，那就下周在空中相会咯，拜拜。